The crowd roared within the amphitheater of Korea's prime, the capital world of the Tietoenan Empire. Its towers of obsidian metal scraped the sky, glowing with alien fire. But tonight all eyes were fixed on the arena carved into the heart of the city. 1,000 warriors stood there, hulking Tietoenan gladiators, armored and bred for combat, their bodies shimmering with metallic scales. And among them, standing awkwardly with only a blade too heavy for him, was the single human, Kale Doran. He wasn't a warrior by choice. He had been captured in a raid, thrown into the Emperor's games as a novelty. The crowd jeered when they saw him, a thin off-worlder, pale compared to the towering Tietoenan. Most thought he would die in the first clash, a piece of entertainment before the true battles began. But not all mocked. From her dais high above, Princess Serenia watched with a smile that cut like a blade. Draped in armor wrought from starlight, her golden eyes gleamed as she leaned toward her courtiers. "Look at him," she said, her voice dripping with amusement. "That fragile little human thinks he can stand among warriors. Very well, let us make it interesting." Her words rang through the amphitheater as she stood, her voice amplified by crystal. "If he dares to win," she declared with a cruel laugh, "I'll chain myself as his wife for eternity." The crowd erupted into wild laughter, their voices shaking the sky. To them, it was a joke, a taunt, a promise that would never come true. For no human could survive, let alone triumph. Kale's grip tightened on the blade. He met her gaze across the arena, his jaw clenched. He wasn't fighting for glory. He wasn't even fighting for her. He was fighting because it was win or die. But something in her mocking tone struck deep, igniting a fire he hadn't known he still carried. If this was his fate, then he would make her words bind her. Middle, battles of blood and will. The first clash nearly killed him. The Tietoenan warrior towered over Kale, armored in jagged plates, a spear crackling with energy in his hands. Kale barely dodged the strike, the ground erupting where the spear fell. He rolled, swung clumsily, and by sheer luck struck the joint in the alien's armor. The crowd gasped as the giant fell, defeated by a single, desperate human blow. From her throne, Serenia raised an eyebrow. Perhaps the insect had claws after all. Round after round, Kale fought. His body was battered, his breath ragged, but he refused to fall. Where others had brute strength, he had speed. Where they had arrogance, he had desperation. He learned to use the arena itself, tripping a warrior into the fire pits, luring another beneath a collapsing stone arch, striking when pride blinded them. The crowd's laughter turned into uneasy silence, then into cheers. They loved blood, and Kale bled plenty, but he bled and still stood. From her throne, Serenia leaned forward, her golden eyes narrowing. The joke she had spoken no longer felt so distant. When Kale faced a final champion, a beast of a Tietoenan twice his height, armed with twin axes, the arena fell silent. No one believed he could survive. Yet when the dust cleared, Kale stood swaying, the axes shattered, the beast collapsed at his feet. The amphitheater thundered with voices. But none were louder than the silence of the princess, her smile gone, her words echoing back at her. Middle deepens, the claim. Later that night, Kale was dragged before the emperor, blooded and bruised. He knelt at the foot of the obsidian throne, chains clinking at his wrists. The emperor laughed. "A human survives our games. Remarkable. What should we do with him, daughter?" Serenia stepped forward, her armor gleaming, her gaze locked on Kale's. She remembered her vow, her cruel joke spoken before thousands. Tradition in the Tietoenan Empire was sacred. A vow spoken in public, before the crowd and the emperor, could not be broken. "He has won," she said slowly, her voice colder than steel. "And by my word, he has won me." Gasps rippled through the court. Kale raised his head, meeting her gaze. Her golden eyes held no warmth, only fire. Yet beneath it, something else stayed, curiosity, maybe even the faintest flicker of respect. The Emperor roared with laughter. So be it. Let the alien princess and the human be bound. Later middle, marriage of enemies. The ceremony was swift. Chains of crystal bound their wrists as a vow was spoken, ancient words tying their fates. The court mocked Kale, sneering at the thought of a human bound to their royal line. But in the privacy of her chambers, Serenya's laughter was gone. She stood before him, arms crossed, her beauty as sharp as her cruelty. "Do not think this makes you my equal," she warned. "You are nothing but a joke, human. You survive by luck, not strength. And now you are chained to me until death." Kale, weary but unbroken, met her glare. "Maybe, but I didn't fight to be your husband. I fought to live. And now we're both bound by your arrogance." For a moment, silence hung between them. Then, unexpectedly, Serenia laughed, not cruelly, but softly, like starlight breaking through storm clouds. "Perhaps," she said, her eyes gleaming, "we shall see what kind of man fate has chained me to." Ending, from chains to choice. Days turned into weeks. Kale was trained in the ways of the court, mocked endlessly by nobles but watched closely by Serenia. At first, she treated him like a pet, testing him with cruel words. But Kale refused a break. He answered her barbs with wit, her fire with calm. Slowly, her laughter changed. Less mocking, more genuine. She began to spar with him in the training halls, surprised by his adaptability. She watched him stand his ground against courtiers who sought to humiliate him. She began to see not weakness, but resilience. One evening, as they stood on the balcony of the palace, the twin moons lighting the sky, Serenia spoke softly, almost to herself. "When I vowed to chain myself to you, I thought I was mocking fate. But now," she hesitated, her golden eyes softer than he had ever seen. "Now I wonder if fate mocked me instead." Kale stepped closer, his chains gone now, his choice his own. Maybe fate was just giving us a chance. For once, she didn't laugh. Instead, she turned, her lips brushing his in a kiss that carried no cruelty, only fire. When they pulled apart, Serenia whispered, "Perhaps eternity will not be so long, if spent with you." And beneath the twin moons of Kuri's prime, the vow once spoken in mockery became the beginning of something neither of them had expected, love born from pride, tempered in battle, sealed by fate.